What's up, everybody? Welcome to The Real Review. I'm your host, Warbucks, and today we're going to talk about the television series Ironheart. Now, I'm a big comic book geek, man. I love everything comic book. I grew up watching comic books as a kid, and so it's just a proud moment in time to see a lot of Black superheroes coming into fruition where we can see them on the big screen coming to life. You know what I'm saying? Not just animated. You know what I'm saying? Growing up, watching Batman, Superman as a kid, watching Spider-Man, not really seeing a lot of Black animated series growing up. You know what I'm saying? Not really seeing a lot of Black animated superheroes, people of my skin color. You know what I'm saying? People I can feel a little bit more of a stronger connection and relatability to. And now in this current day, you know what I'm saying? We getting more and more. You know, as I got older, I got to see Blade in live action. And so that was probably my first introduction, maybe. I mean, I think Blank Man, there were other Black superhero movies, I believe. Not sure which one came first, but I do remember being a big fan of Blank Man and dang, let me think of what was the one with Robert Townsend where he was a superhero. That was another great one that I loved as a kid. But in this day and age, we got Black Panther. For a lot of these kids in this generation, they get to see Black Panther, and within Black Panther breeds Ironheart. I believe she was introduced in Black Panther 2. And so it's just really, really cool to get more people like us, you know what I'm saying, that represent who we are as African Americans or even Africans, anybody of the Black skin color. You get to see your own people of color in outfits fighting crime, because not all superheroes are all one color. You got different creed, different color, different races, and we're getting to see a lot more, different culture. We're getting to see a lot of diversity now, and it's beautiful just to see our culture, and getting to see it get brought to life through superheroes. And so, I'm proud today to talk about Ironheart, um, who was introduced again, like I said, in Black Panther 2. We got to see her come in, and they needed her help with her suit and her powers in Black Panther 2. Now, before I had the pleasure of even watching this show, from the moment this show came out, it received a lot of negative backlash, a lot of hate, which I did not understand and still don't understand, because, I just didn't get it. I mean, I get it, but I don't. I don't understand why anytime Black superheroes come out, we see so much negative hate about it. It's almost like just because it's Black superheroes, now it's just not going to be any more other race or any other culture of superheroes out here. All we want is more representations of us. If you got people getting powers of other cultures and races, why can't we have those? I mean, come on, like there's plenty of them in the comic book. I just want to see some of them being brought to life within this same world. We all can coexist together in this world and do great things. You know what I'm saying? And so I believe that can happen in the superhero world too. So, but anyway, so it was dope to see Riri come to life in Black Panther 2. We get to see a lot of Black woman excellence in that movie. And it was just very, very enjoyable to watch as she was brought to life in that movie. And we got to see this nice comical side of her. We got to see her suit. We got to see the action. And she's kind of like a genius. She's somewhat of a prodigy of Iron Man in the comic books. You know what I'm saying? And I had a pleasure of seeing her have a FaceTime chat about this show with Robert Downey Jr., and they shared a moment where they hearted each other on the video, and we got to see the screenshot of that. And that was really, really dope to see. It was just one of those moments where really connected you with the heart. And Robert Downey Jr. is an awesome dude. I mean, you know, he's the dude playing the dude that's played by another dude in Tropic Thunder, you know. Speaking of the culture, you know, he's really black. So, but anyway, so yeah, it was pretty cool to see that. To see them share that heart-to-heart moment. If you know the history of the comic book and you know that Iron Man, because of the MCU and the way this world was built, we didn't really get to see her come up under his tutelage and him really give her all the advice that was given in the comic book. So it's pretty cool to see the actors share those emotional moments. And Robert Downey Jr. showed a lot of love to this show. So, hey, haters, we we appreciate all the talk y'all gave, but my boy Robert Downey Jr. stood up for us and showed this show some love. So shout out to Robert Downey Jr., man. You a dope dude for that, man. For real, for real. So it was just awesome to show so much love and show so much admiration for this show that I'm about to talk about right now. So anyway, now that I've gotten through the little history, a little background, let's get straight into the show, man. So we got Riri, our main character. She starts out, she's an MIT student, and she's basically helping students pass their tests. She's kind of cheating, you know what I'm saying? And she gets caught and she gets kicked out of MIT. MIT is her whole lifeline of where she gets her parts to help build up her suit and keep her suit powered. So when she gets fired, she's kind of desperate for cash and money to help build up her suit. You get a comical moment of her dragging her suit across the street at this kid. You get this funny, entertaining kid on the street that is kind of like used as a comical moment where he tries to find some way to make a buck to help her out. You know what I'm saying? And it's pretty cool to see this little funny exchange between these characters. But as she's carrying her suit across the street, she's going back. Now Riri is going through her own sadness and problems at this time. She just got fired from her job. She lost her best friend, Natalie, and she lost her stepdad due to a drive-by in gun violence. And this is all the background of the character and the story that kind of drives why she's probably in this dark place and she's always breaking all these rules. You know, I noticed a lot of the hate that came from this show. A lot of people was just talking about how this character doesn't always make the right decisions and kind of breaks the rules. Well, what do you want me to say? I mean, what do you expect her to be? Perfect? You know what I'm saying? Are we not in the age of where these superheroes are a little bit more realistic and a lot more relatable? You know what I'm saying? We got a lot of people out here that aren't perfect. Look at Iron Man. Look at his character and how he was. He was not the most likable guy. He was very arrogant, very cocky, and he was creating weapons for people like criminals to use to hurt other people, to kill people, to hurt other people, to blow up stuff. He was a weapons dealer. He not only sold weapons to Americans, he sold weapons to the competition. Like he was just an all around arrogant prick, actually, who just inherited this company and this money. He is not the best guy, honestly. But I don't remember anybody complaining about that when that movie came out. Everybody just said that movie was great and it was a great introduction to a world that was being built. Because you got to see after the credits that now they're building a world. And so I just don't remember this same hate for those superheroes. But when the black superheroes show up, we get so much negativity and so much hate. And every time you notice, they all got the same skin tone. So that should tell you something. Because even Black Panther got a lot of hate, even though it was a billion-dollar movie and probably one of the biggest and highest selling movies in the MCU. So anyway, I digress on that. So back to the movie, man. So Riri, man, she's going through it. She just, like I said, she just lost her best friend, her stepdad. She just lost her MIT. She's kind of desperate for cash. And so she is approached by a gang of people that want to recruit her to do some jobs for them. Now, she's a little bit unsure if she wants to take this job or not, but she's kind of strapped for cash to get her suit back intact. So, you know what I'm saying? She decides to oblige, and they send her on this test where they trap her in this elevator, and they kind of gas this elevator up, and she passed the test and breaks out very, very well. And she meets the whole team of the crew of people that are trying to hire her, which is led by this guy who has this mysterious cloak that he wears and uses. And she meets the whole gang. She meets their tech expert. So in that scene, she meets the tech expert that she's replacing for the jobs. So she passes the test. So they offer her the job to do, and I think she takes the job. She signs on to do 3 jobs with these guys so she can get some cash to better her suit. But the problem is she needs the cash to better her suit, and now she has to somehow find a way to use this suit to do the jobs. So it's kind of like she's in a catch-22. And so either way, Riri goes back home. She gets into it with her mom about losing her best friend and her stepdad. I'm pretty sure that we get like maybe some flashback moments between her and her stepdad, so you can kind of understand the bond that she has. This is the only dad she really knows. So that she really cared about this person. It's kind of sad when you lose 2 people in your life that you're so close to. And so it kind of sends her down this dark path. And it actually makes a lot of sense on why she's making the decision that she's making, because she's just young and she just doesn't know how to process all this grief and anger that she's dealing with. So yeah, she's making mistakes. We all have problems in our lives that send us down these paths. When we were young, our old selves, we made a lot of mistakes, did a lot of dumb shit we wasn't supposed to do. We took a lot of anger and grief, and we kept it built up inside us and misused it in the wrong place, took it out on the wrong people. Riri is just human. She's just doing the best that she can do with what she has. She's not rich. She's not wealthy like Tony Stark. She didn't inherit a whole bunch of money. She just inherited being poor. So she's doing the best she can do. And so she has this big argument with her mom. And after that emotional argument, she goes to her room and she uses she uses this tracker to kind of search through her brain to try to create an AI for her suit. And in that she accidentally creates Natalie. You know what I'm saying? Which has an abbreviation to it. And don't ask me what that stands for. There's a lot of letters. I have no clue. But either way, it basically creates an AI version, voice, an AI version of her best friend based on her memories, which is really cool. So she accidentally, ingeniously creates an AI that is a strong representation of her best friend that she just lost. And so I also believe that earlier in the episode, she goes and sees the brother of her best friend, Natalie, and she has a little back and forth with him. Now, when I first see this scene, they did a good job with this, because you can tell right away, this is her love interest. This is the guy that she has a crush on, and he has a crush on her, and they're kind of like friends, but they like each other, but they're kind of, you know what I'm saying, they taking it slow and kind of afraid to take those next steps over into being more than friends. You know what I'm saying? So she has strong feelings about this guy. They have a strong bond of both losing somebody they really cared about. He lost his sister and she lost her best friend, and they kind of bond over that, and it makes their friendship and bond stronger at that connection. And so So anyway, Natalie, Riri accidentally creates Natalie, and now she has to do this job with this new gang that she just met. So she now needs to get some fresh parts. So she goes and she finds this guy, and he's got the machinery, the parts that she needs to help build up her suit. So she finds a way to bribe him for the parts to help build up her suit so she can go do these jobs. And the bribery goes well. She meets this guy. And this guy, he's a good actor. He actually, I believe he played the younger version of Han Solo in the Solo movie, the Star Wars movie, Han Solo. Um, Along with Donald Glover. And, he does what he does. He plays his part very well, very believable. And she's able to manipulate those parts out of him in a nice, cool, calm manner. You know what I'm saying? She bribes him and she gets the part she needs to do the job. And in this episode, she does her first job with them. They go in there, and there's a point in the job where everything's going well, and then Riri kind of gets stuck by a security guard with a gun. Now, the deal is they all go in, they do the jobs, and the jobs is basically to go in, find any dirt, use the technology to find any dirt on these companies and use it to bribe the CEOs so they can get money out of them. And so the guy goes in, everything goes well except she gets caught by a security guard with a gun. Her tech freezes up on her, and then the cloak shows up and saves her life uh before she's like about to be shot. And he uses his cloak to catch the bullets and stop it. And this is some type of power that Riri has never seen before. And so Natalie immediately later on questions, be like, yo, be wary of this cloak that this guy has. And there's a lot of questions about it. We trying to figure out what's going on with this dude and his powers, because you never know how he could misuse these powers in the wrong way to try to hurt people. And so, Natalie kind of freezes up. She's got parts, but her tech isn't the best tech at this moment. And that's the whole point of her doing this job, to make money so she can get better tech for her suit. And so they pull off the job successfully. The cloak saves Riri, and then they continue to move on. And so Riri continues her journey on in the next episode. They have another job that they're about to do. But before they do that job, the team is all hanging out, having fun. Riri and another girl, they kind of sneak over to cut off a piece or to touch the cloak to kind of get a better look at it, to get a better understanding of it. And when they get caught, the number 2 in charge confronts the girl that touched it, and he kind of gets real aggressive with her. And then they the rest of the team kind of barks back at him because he's just being way too aggressive, way too dark, way too aggressive and fighting within the whole team. We all supposed to be working together. We ain't supposed to be fighting each other. You're not supposed to be checking somebody about a cloak. You know what I'm saying? And this further shows that something darker, something else is going on with this cloak for them not want you to even touch it or even go near it. And so this just fuels Riri even more to understand more behind what's going on and what's going on with this cloak and why this guy is fighting so hard to keep them from even understanding this power or where it comes from. And so they do their next job. This job is going all right. I believe that Riri somehow gets a piece of the cloak, takes it with her, and then she goes into the facility. She kind of sneaks off it on her own in the facility and puts it under microscope to try to figure out the magic behind or the power behind this cloak, the piece that she has. But in doing that, she triggers the alarm and she gets stuck in this room by herself. And while she's stuck in this room, guess who else is there? The number 2. And now he's very aware that Riri is kind of like on a mission to figure out more that's going on. And when she sees it, now he admits to killing the last guy, the tech guy that worked for them, and by the orders of the cloak guy, the dude with the cloak. And with that going on, with that happening, this immediately fires off an alarm in Riri, and now she knows what she's dealing with. These people are dangerous, and now we know this is our main antagonist. Or so we think, but this is our main antagonist of the show, the cloak guy that hired her to do these jobs. And so in this scene, the guy is trying to kill Riri. Riri is trying to escape and get out. She's kind of stuck. Oh, and I forgot to mention this detail. Riri is, you don't really understand that Riri's in this room because they believe that she's out doing her job because she has her suit moving on his own with Natalie, the AI, directing it, and she's talking to Natalie in the earpiece. So she's in this room by herself. She doesn't have her suit to protect her and help her in this situation, as the number 2 is trying to take her down and kill her now. And so she also has this vital information that he killed the last tech guy, and now he's trying to kill her. And so in this last minute, they're trapped in this room. The building is now about to blow up, and the suit comes in last minute and saves Riri. Riri gets out, but guess what? She does not save the guy. She leaves him in there. Now, some people might see this scene and think this could be wrong, but what would you do if a person was trying to kill you and then you see them about to die? You know what I'm saying? It's a very strong question and a thin line in this scene on what you would do in this situation. I don't even know if she even had enough time to save him and get out of that whole thing before it blew up, and it could have blew up and destroyed both of them and destroyed her suit and got rid of Natalie, her tech. So, you know, she manages to get out in time, and then the place blows up. And so they get back. The team wants to celebrate their win, but then they realize the number 2 isn't there, and they're questioning where he is. And their only assumption was that he was left in the building and that he died, sadly. And I think at the very end of the episode, we catch the cloak guy receiving a premonition from his cloak, letting him know that Riri is responsible for this guy's death. Like, he gets a vision. Now, what the heck kind of powerful cloak can show him a vision of something that he did not see himself, or the cloak was even present to see? This is a very super powered cloak. And this just goes to show you we're dealing with a very dangerous villain with this cloak. This guy is got some stuff that he's got, like some type of power that can beat tech, because he's dealing with magic. You got tech and you got magic. Magic trumps a lot of things. I mean, magic can literally beat Superman. So what do you think it's going to do to tech? So, all fairness, this is a type of villain that Riri is going to have a really hard time with. And so, after that, I believe Riri, she comes around the gang, but the energy is off now. It's a little weird energy between them. She's lying to the gang, but the leader of the gang is not telling the gang all the stuff that he knows. He's not telling them that he knows that Riri is responsible for the number 2 dying, and he's not telling Riri. But he's bringing Riri in to have a secret talk with her, just them one-on-one, and they have this very dark scene. They did a really good job with this, because you could kind of feel that he knows what's going on without him directly saying it, and without us actually knowing it, because they don't really 100% show that he has the premonition. They just show he has that he has something. But he definitely knows that she is partly responsible for his death because of the whole situation of the confrontation. We don't know what all he saw and all he knows, but in this scene is very intense, and you can kind of cut the tension and feel that Riri feels like something's going on, that she can't 100% trust him, and he definitely doesn't trust her. You can kind of see it. And so in this, whenever you discover somebody in your team and you kind of feel like they could be your enemy, you kind of keep your enemy close so you can watch them and keep a good look at them. So he tells her he's gonna give her more responsibility and more of this and more of that on their last job they're supposed to do together. Because remember, she signed over for 3 jobs. They've done 2 already. And so in that, Riri goes on. I believe. Yeah. Okay. So Riri goes on. She leaves, but now she doesn't go around the gang anymore because she can't trust them, and now she's just trying to figure out a way to maybe possibly beat this gang somehow. She's been lying to her mom left and right, and they've been having their confrontations, and it's all due to the relationship that she has with her stepfather. So she's having those issues and those problems, and they have their confrontations. So she has no choice but to possibly, maybe seek out some more help here. But anyway, so finally things come into play to where she and her suit kind of she has like a little confrontation with her suit, a little problem with her suit, and she gets separated from her suit. And the main villain finally tells the team that she is responsible for the death of their number 2, and he sends them out to kill her. And we get this dope little action scene where these 2 girls from the crew are now trying to fight Riri. Now, Riri, she's not no fighter like that. She isn't. But she somehow finds a way to evade both of them because she's very, very smart. She knows how to think quick on her toes. She's scared. She's freaking out, but she channels that and uses that to evade both of them and to get both of them caught up. And then she has to face the girl that she was the closest with. All of them are trying to kill her, and she finds a way to evade her, beat her out. She outwits and outsmarts her and gets out of that too. And then she gets back inside her suit finally, and she gets into it. With the guy that's in the suit, the guy that she brought. Yeah. Yeah. So she's in her suit. She kind of gets into it with the guy that in the robot suit. In the news, you find out that he is broken out of prison by the main villain, and he's given this tech suit and used to help Riri because he feels like Riri kind of set him up to begin with to get locked up. And she's already kind of been nervous anyway that she's going to get caught because her suit pieces are tied to the guy that's locked up in jail. And so him and her, they have this moment where they fight, and he kind of messes up, rips up the suit and tears up the suit. And so she loses her suit, but he lets her live. Like, he has the upper hand to kill her, but he lets her live. And so when they go back, and also earlier in this, she got into a fight with the girl that she was closest with, as she reveals to that girl that by the orders of the head guy, the number 2 actually is the one who had the last tech guy killed. And so now they feeling some type of way about him, because for you to have somebody else in the crew killed means you can have any of us killed. How can we trust that you won't do the same to us if we mess up or if something goes wrong with us? So now they go back and they lie. They go back and they lie to the girl and tell him that Riri got away. And then they confront him about him killing the last tech guy and lying to them. And in that, he gets mad and then he fires everybody and kicks everybody out and goes solo. Now, the white dude thinks that he's done with him. He did his job. He killed Riri, but it's something about this that he just does not trust. He's questioning him, but he ends up taking control over him through the robotic suit that he gives him, and he commands him and makes him work for him, makes him his personal robot, and so to speak, his personal butler, because he could control him now through his suit. And so the guy thinks that he's done with him, but he's not done with him. In the process of this, Riri goes to get help to fight this cloak because now she understands she's dealing with something a little bit more than she can handle, and she has a piece of the cloak. So she takes it to these people, a mother and daughter who work in a shop, which she gets word that they know how to deal with, they know magic and know how to deal with magic. And that's when we get this dope scene where the daughter kind of wishes them to this other world or some magician stuff. You know what I'm saying? We get to see some Doctor Strange type things going on here where she takes them to this other place. And the mother doesn't even know the daughter knows all of this stuff. She's learned so much about magic. And we get this real cool scene and they examine this cloak and how dark it is. And they make her aware that magic is behind this thing. But they don't tell her where this cloak comes from. They just tell her to get that thing out of here and to stay away from the shop and don't bring that around. That's what the mother tells her. And she says, get away from this stuff. Don't mess with this. It's dangerous. They don't give her enough details. And so I think after this, Riri recruits that young girl to help her to create some type of magic. And she tries to rebuild her suit using junk parts out of the car that her and her stepdad worked on together. And they have a little mini heart-to-heart flashback where her and her dad had this, her stepdad has this bonding moment of them building a car together and her having a hard time and all the great advice that her stepdad used to give her. It kind of just brings more context and more background to why this character cares so much about her stepdad and the bond that they had and losing that and why that has sent her down this dark path that she's been on. It just helps you better understand the character. And you have a little heart-to-heart moment if you've ever had a dad or a stepdad, anybody in your life that's a representation of a father that showed you the way, whether you're a little girl or a little boy, you've all had those moments with your dad or your stepdad that you can really kind of connect to. So there's real deep emotion and emotional bond in this movie of relatability where you can relate to this character not being perfect, and the connection of a father or a father figure that were there for you in your life and really cared about you and loved you and showed you the way, you know what I'm saying? And so it was a very great scene. And so Riri does have issues with her tech within the movie. She kind of gets into a problem. There's a point where Riri gets hurt, and when Riri gets hurt, her tech immediately takes her to, because he doesn't really know how to help her. It's technology. It has no real process of emotions or what to do when somebody's hurt. So she goes and she goes to get help. And the person she goes to get help from is the brother of Natalie, her real best friend who died. And when she goes to see him, he kind of freaks out because his sister is dead. They buried him. They had a whole funeral for her. So he's very confused. He's very upset. And when Riri finally wakes up, they have a whole confrontation where he's angry and he tells Riri to delete the tech. And this confrontation creates a wedge between her and her tech. And her tech dips out on her and leaves her. And because she's just hurt, because when the boyfriend tells her to delete her, she doesn't immediately defend the tech. She just kind of like looks like there's a possibility she could do it because she really likes this guy that much. And that hurt Natalie, the tech, so much that she just kind of disappears. And so that whole confrontation is why the tech wasn't with her in the first place when she was originally in the shop and got into her whole debacle with all those people, and she was able to outwit them and outsmart them. just to give some background on where her tech was before it came through to try to save her in the end. And um, so anyway, now that her tech is gone because the guy ripped it up, she rebuilds it using the parts of the car that I said her stepdad built together. And she finishes it. She tries to get Natalie back, and she does get Natalie back. She gets a form of Natalie back in this suit. And then when they use the magic on the suit, because now she realized she has to use magic to beat this cloak. She can't beat it with just tech. Like I said earlier, Superman, the magic. Come on now. There's no match for tech versus magic. So either way, she gets that little girl from the shop, the mother who knows magic. I'm assuming they're witches or whatever, or just some people that know how to harness magic. And so, but anyway, well, not witches, but wizards or whatever you want to call it. And so, but anyway, so she hits the suit with magic, and when she hits the suit with magic, it erases Natalie. Natalie is gone, and now Riri is hurt. She just lost the last form of her best friend that she had, and now she's trying to get it back, and she can't. She cries, and all the people that helped her, including the brother, she won him back over to get them to help as well. The little boy that was trying to get money to get him to help her out at the beginning, all of these people, her mom is now involved. Her and her mom have settled their differences and had their heart to heart. They all try to convince her not to go up against this thing without Natalie. They don't think she's fully ready or prepared to face this cloak. But she ignores all their wishes. She ignores everything they say, and then she chooses to challenge and go after him. And we get our final battle of good and evil. And, she goes to where he is, fights him on his own ground. But wait, before this happens, the main villain, we get a background story on him, which is really, really dope. That we getting some background on our characters that we're dealing with. We kind of have a better understanding of why this guy became the way he was. Him and Riri actually have a lot in common because he has a father as well, and his father is still alive, but his father, Riri lost her father to death. He loses his father because his father just doesn't want to be there for him. He just doesn't care to be a father. He had a child with somebody and he wasn't ready to be a father. Instead, he preferred to be successful and chase money and put that over love, put that over the bond with his child. And he goes out and becomes a successful businessman, and he builds up his business. Now, I believe that this dude is like not the straightest businessman. I believe that there may have been some, well, I don't know that for sure, but I'm pretty sure there's like some illegal business that helped him build this business. But this is how we created our villain. This is our villain's arc and how he was created through his father not being there for him. And with his father not being there for him, he was forced to turn to the streets. And that's how he met his number two. And they were out doing jobs together and robbing people. And when he got caught, they were forced to kill somebody. And the killer, which was his number two, was the one who had to kill the guy to save his life. And that's how he became a killer, was by taking that life to save his life. Now, we don't know that to be facts. He may have killed somebody before that, but who knows? But either way, we know that he's a killer, and we know the background of him killing to save his life, and we know why now he's so cool with him killing, because he's done it before, and they've seen him do it, and they've become more comfortable in this lifestyle. And we know now the background of this arc, because he goes and confronts. He does his last job, and he does it with the assistance of the robot guy, forced assistance, because he basically makes him go in there and take out all the guards. And he's wearing this cloak, and he's having all these he also goes and confronts the main person who gave him the cloak in the first place and gave him the power. And so we actually get a flashback of him meeting this guy, which we know him from the comic book as Manifesto. And just some comic book background on Manifesto. Mind you, all these characters are all from the comic book. The robot dude, Manifesto, and even the cloak guy. I can't remember his comic book name, but Google him. The guy with the cloak, he is also from the comic book as well. These are all characters that you can look up. So all of these people have backgrounds from the comic book. But anyway, so he meets with Manifesto, and if you know anything about Manifesto, he's pretty much like the devil in Marvel. He's a very dark and powerful character. But he goes and he makes deals with people. He makes deals with people to give them things that they want. In exchange for that, he gets something from them. He takes something from them. And basically we see in this movie the in the flashback scene, the cloak guy, he asked Manifesto, he wants power, he wants to be respected, he wants power, and he wants money. You know what I'm saying? He asks for these things, and Manifesto gives it to him by giving him this cloak, and he takes that cloak and he finds the way to get that. But he doesn't feel fully he got everything that he wanted out of this deal. So he goes and confronts Manifesto about it. And Manifesto says, okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you your powers. I'll give you more of this, but I need something from you. And so as you see in this movie, this guy he starts out as he's a bad dude, but he's not terrible. You know what I'm saying? He's really just a misguided child that deep down, he really just misses his father. You know what I'm saying? This cloak kind of strips this character parts and parts away from him and makes him darker and darker as the movie goes along. It's stripping away his soul, and it's just making him a darker character as the show goes along. And so, Manifesto is just stripping away from this guy. And in that, he's gaining all this power and all this money and all these things, all these material things that, you know what I'm saying? Without love, without bond, without these certain things in a person, it really doesn't mean anything. You just end up kind of lonely and by yourself and hurt. You're just in a dark place. And that's where I feel like this character is at this point. He doesn't have anybody. All he has is money, but he doesn't have it to share with anybody. He can't go out and have fun. You know what I'm saying? The fun and the life, the happiness and part of him is being stripped away by this cloak. And it's just making him a darker and darker character. Just to break down the psyche of this character and how he's gotten like this throughout the season. And so, now that we know a lot of the background of our main protagonist, now we've stripped down our antagonist and understand his motivation behind everything and why everything's going on. His team are just some lost kids in the street that were abandoned by their parents, and they all just bonded together over that. And so there's a connection and a bond between these characters that's more than money. They're kind of like a family a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But the cloak turns him so dark that he even turns on his own family and kicks them out. And so now we're here at our final battle between the cloak and Ironheart and Riri. And they have our final battle where they're fighting. And it looks as if the cloak has the upper hand on Riri, but in reality, it's actually a mirage, as she uses her magic to kind of create a mirage to make him think that he has her. But in reality, he's behind her, she's behind Cloak, and he pulls off his cloak, which strips his powers away from him and just makes him a regular human being again. And now that she takes that cloak, she brings it to Mephisto, and then she has a conversation with him where now he offers her a deal. And in this deal, he wants his cloak back, and in exchange for that, you know what I'm saying, he'll give Riri Natalie back. Not the tech, not the AI, the actual human Natalie back. Her best friend, who is dead, by the way, is unalived, not breathing, gone, no life. How can you explain bringing back a person that had a whole funeral and has a whole, like, I get if they ain't got no family and it's just them, you can bring them back and nobody will question anything. You know, you just say they went on vacation or just went somewhere for a while. But this person has a brother. She clearly has people that know who she is and have seen her, and they know she's died. So it's like, I don't know. I was in my head, I was thinking, damn, how are you gonna just bring back a whole person that died? How can you even explain that? And you have a whole funeral and there's a body probably in that casket. It's like, so I'm assuming Mephisto will have to have some type of power to kind of rewrite reality a little bit here for this to even make any sense. So, and I'm not sure if he has that power. That's something you can Google and look into if he has that power. But man, rewriting reality is one of the strongest powers. Man, it's like, it just goes to show you what type of super being that we got going on here. You think Cloak was the real arch nemesis or the real big bad? No, the real big bad is Manifesto. Especially the fact that he can just bring back somebody to life. Even if he can't rewrite reality, the fact that he can bring a whole person that died, who unalived, as they would say online, like, that's crazy. And that's super powerful. And so, yeah, so anyway, you know, they kind of cut the scene off and they don't really show what Riri chose. He gives her the offer, and then, you know, she kind of goes back home, and then, you know, it's just kind of this sad kind of scene. And they do a good job with this because they make you think she just goes back to her life and she's kind of, you know, so just doing her own thing. And then next thing you know, Natalie comes up and physically hugs her. Now, before, Natalie was a hologram, an AI, but now we got real Natalie, which means the main character took that deal with Manifesto, and she took that deal and she brought back to life her friend. And so I don't know how they're gonna explain this in the next season. Maybe Manifesto's gonna rewrite, you know, reality and, you know, make it as if she never died. Ain't no telling, you know what I'm saying? So, but, you know, it just kind of brings a little bit more credence and just goes to show you how imperfect the character is. You know what I'm saying? She's not perfect at all. She doesn't always make the best decisions, but she's young and she's just doing the best she can with what she has. And so that's pretty much the end of Ironheart. Just a brief recap on my feelings of the show. I thought the show was pretty good. It was cool. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't nothing amazing or anything like that, but it was entertaining and it was very well written, well put together. The characters was very well written. They didn't spend too much time on anything or too much background or do too much this to make the show boring. It was very entertaining, a lot of interchanging pieces, a lot of characters, pretty decent, pretty good acting in the show. All the characters pulled their weight and did what they were supposed to do and made you remember them. Oh yeah, of course. So, yeah, it was a pretty good show. It is. It's a pretty decent show. It definitely don't deserve all the hate that I saw on the internet. It was not that bad. They act like this was the worst thing ever. And honestly, a lot of the fans have been on this hate train for Marvel anyway. They act like everything that has been done by Marvel is the worst thing ever now, which is crazy. But this feels a little bit specific towards a certain demographic, to a certain race, to a certain culture of superhero. It just feels like the typical hate. Because I've seen other people give this show some praise and a little bit of love that it deserves, and a little bit of grace that Riri deserves as a character who is flawed, who is not perfect. Like a lot of the characters in the MCU, they're relatable in a way because they have a little bit of human inside them. A lot of them were humans before, you know what I'm saying? And this one definitely is human, just using tech, just trying to get it through life as best as she can. So, popcorn bucket score, I'll give it about 3 buckets and a half. Yeah, I'll give about 3.5 buckets. Uh, it was pretty good. It was decent. You know, I'll probably give it, yeah, about 3.5 buckets. It's a pretty decent show. Entertaining, pretty good action, pretty good emotion, pretty good connectability between the characters and people watching. I feel like this is a pretty good watch. You know what I'm saying? And it's a pretty good puzzle piece within the MCU. We got introduced to a whole new, dangerous, super powerful character in Manifesto. So I'm excited to see where that could take us within the MCU, in the movies and everything. So I'm excited to see that. But yeah, man, that's about it for Ironheart. I'm out.